Imagine stepping up to a microphone in a crowded room. You open your mouth to speak in a language you were just learning, and you completely forget your next word. And yet, you feel perfectly fine.
Oh, wow. I mean, most of us would call that an actual nightmare, right?
The
The panic, the sweating.
overwhelming urge to just run out of the room.
Exactly. We tend to think that a truly confident person never feels that fear. We think they just step into a room, speak perfectly, and, well, never doubt themselves for a single second.
But the stack of sources we are diving into today completely flips that idea upside down. We're looking at some really fascinating behavioral psychology articles, research on how adults learn new languages, and some great notes on self-efficacy.
It's such a great collection of material.
It really is. And our mission for this deep dive is to figure out what true confidence actually is. The sources show us that it's not about knowing everything. It is not about having zero fear. It just means you are ready to try, You are ready to learn and grow even when you're totally terrified.
And because this is such a deeply personal topic, I think it helps to start with the main theme from our sources. It's a guiding thought I want you, the listener, to keep in mind. Just take a breath and listen to this. Believe in yourself. You may not be perfect, but you are improving every day. Do not compare your journey with others. Your progress is your power.
I love that last part. Your progress is your power. I really want to talk about that because, well, before we can build confidence, the research says we have to completely change how we measure success.
Right, we have to stop viewing life as a race against other people.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
And especially the process of learning.
That is a huge shifting perspective. The sources emphasize that learning, whether it's English or a new work skill, is an internal journey. It's a biological process that happens at a completely unique speed for every single person.
So when people lose their confidence, it's usually because they are looking at everyone else.
Exactly. They look around and think, I am not fast enough. Or that person over there is learning the vocabulary so much faster than me, so I must not be smart enough.
But let's be totally real for a second. Saying life isn't a race looks great on a motivational poster.
Right. Very Instagram friendly.
Yeah. But when you are sitting in a high-stakes meeting and your colleague is giving a presentation in flawless English, and you are sitting there sweating, trying to remember the word for revenue.
It absolutely feels like a race in that moment.
It really does.
Uh.
How do the sources expect us to just ignore that very real pressure?
Well, that is the exact problem the behavioral research addresses. In that meeting, your brain feels threatened. You feel like you are falling behind. But that feeling comes from looking at the wrong finish line.
The wrong finish line.
Yeah, to measure your progress properly, you have to look at your own starting line. You can't measure your success by looking at where your colleague is standing today. You have to measure it by looking at where you started a month ago or, a year ago.
Ah, okay. So it's less about the speed of your learning and entirely about the direction you're moving.
Precisely. The research shows that true confidence begins the exact moment you stop saying, I cannot do this, and you start saying, I will try.
Because I will try means you are moving. You have left the starting line.
Yes. Even if the movement is incredibly tiny. If you just learn one new English word today, or speak one simple sentence at a coffee shop without freezing up, that is real progress.
And acknowledging that small step is important, right?
Huge. When you notice that small step, your brain actually releases dopamine. That's a chemical that helps with memory and motivation. It literally makes the next step easier.
That makes perfect biological sense. But if our whole focus is taking these small daily steps, we are definitely going to hit a major roadblock.
The biggest roadblock of all.
Right, making mistakes.
Oh, the dreaded mistake. It's amazing how much energy we spend as adults trying to build a life where we never make a single mistake.
We try so hard to avoid it. The sources actually use a really powerful analogy for this. It's about how a child learns to walk.
Yes, I love this part.
When you watch a baby learn to walk, they pull themselves up, they take one shaky step, and then they just fall right down.
Right on the floor.
Exactly. But the important thing is what the baby does not do in that moment.
They don't look around at the adults and think, well, I'm clearly a failure. I will never be able to walk like these tall people.
Right? They don't have that ego yet. They just try again. Slowly, one step becomes two, and then they're walking. But it's funny how our reaction changes as we get older.
What do you mean?
Well, when a baby falls, we clap.
Right.
We cheer and say, good job, try again. But as adults, when we stumble while speaking a new language, we're just so harsh on ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
It feels like you lose a piece of who you are.
Yeah.
You are smart and funny in your native language, but when you make a grammar mistake in English, You suddenly feel childish.
You hit on the exact psychological barrier there. It's our ego. But what the research points out is that mistakes are not just accidents. Mistakes are the literal way we learn.
The literal way.
Yeah, in cognitive science, this is called error-driven learning. When you make a mistake, like using the wrong verb tense, your brain registers an error signal.
Okay.
That signal is what physically changes your brain so you get it right the next time.
Wow, so without the mistake, the brain doesn't get the signal to update its software.
Exactly. You cannot learn to walk without falling, and you cannot learn a language without using the wrong word sometimes. Confidence is built through that messy process. The sources are very clear on this. Mistakes are not your enemies. They are your teachers.
I think if we truly believed that, if we saw mistakes as helpful software updates instead of personal failures, learning would feel so much lighter.
It really would.
But knowing that logically is one thing. Actually changing how we treat ourselves in the moment we make a mistake,
Yeah.
that is really hard.
It is the real challenge, and that leads us to the words we speak inside our own minds, our internal self-talk.
Which is so important.
Arguably the most critical part of building confidence. The way you talk to yourself matters so much on a physical brain level. The sources show that constantly saying things like, "My English is terrible," or "I am not smart enough," actively works against you.
It's like we are typing bad code into our own computer system and then wondering why it keeps crashing.
That is a perfect way to visualize it, and once that bad code is there, it just runs in the background all the time. Think of your brain's pathways like roads. If your default reaction to speaking English is fear, that road is a massive paved superhighway.
Right, because you travel it every day.
Exactly. Your brain takes that road automatically because it's easy. To change it, you have to consciously choose a different thought.
So instead of saying, I always make mistakes,
You say, "I am learning," instead of "I can't speak like they do." You say, "My progress matters."
and doing that at first must feel like trying to chop your way through a thick jungle. It's slow and hard compared to just driving down the negative superhighway.
It feels very unnatural at first, but every time you use positive self-talk, you clear a little bit more of that jungle path. Over time, that positive path becomes the new superhighway.
That is so encouraging, but it requires respecting your own process. The sources make a really deep point here. Before anyone else respects your journey, you must respect it yourself.
Confidence is an inside job first, but there is a big reason we struggle to respect our own journey. And that brings us to what the research calls the ultimate enemy of confidence.
Comparison,
Yes, comparison. It is the easiest trap to fall into.
especially today.
Uh-huh.
You look at social media or you see a colleague and they speak English so beautifully. Your brain instantly compares your messy reality to their perfect result.
But the sources point out a huge blind spot we have. We are only seeing their finished product. We do not see their years of practice or the frustrating mistakes they made when they were beginners just like you.
We are comparing our behind the scenes to their highlight reel.
Exactly. And it's totally natural to compare. We are wired to do it. But when you are learning a skill, comparison is actually destructive.
Why is it so destructive?
See.
I mean, aside from just making us feel bad.
Because it uses up your mental energy, what scientists call cognitive load. Your working memory is limited. When you are stressing about how far behind you are using the exact brain power you need to remember English vocabulary.
Oh, wow. So you literally have less brain power for the language because you are busy comparing.
Yes. You stop looking at your own feet. Your path and your story are totally unique. Moving at your own speed is the most efficient way your brain can learn.
So comparing yourself to someone else is like expecting your phone to charge faster by staring at someone else's phone.
Right, it doesn't make any sense at all. A small step every single day at your own speed creates massive change over time.
Okay, so we understand the mindset now. We measure from the starting line. Mistakes are just software updates. And comparison drains our mental battery.
Right, Summer?
Thanks. But how do we actually do this? When you wake up tomorrow morning, how do you practice this confidence?
Well, the sources give us 5 daily actions. They are very simple, but they force that shift from the negative superhighway to the positive one.
I saw the first tip, and it is remarkably small. It's literally just starting your day with one positive sentence. Waking up and saying, I believe in myself.
It sounds so small, doesn't it?
It does. I have to admit, it sounds a little bit like a cliche. Does saying one sentence really do anything?
It actually does. It's about setting a baseline for the day. It's called psychological priming. If you start your day with a positive statement, your brain unconsciously looks for proof that the statement is true all day long.
Oh, so you are telling your brain's search engine to look for good things instead of bad things.
Exactly. You are tuning your brain to look for small wins instead of threats.
That makes a lot of sense. And that leads to the second tip, doing just one small thing that makes you better. Reading one English sentence, learning one word, or listening to a short podcast.
Just one small thing.
Why the focus on just one thing?
Because starting is the hardest part. When we think about how much we have to learn, we feel overwhelmed and we do nothing. Committing to just one tiny action stops that overwhelmed feeling. It builds momentum. Once you learn one word, you usually feel like learning a second one.
That is so true. And when you are taking those small actions, you will hit the third tip, accepting your mistakes without feeling ashamed.
Right back to our error-driven learning. If you hide from your mistakes, you hide from your teachers.
Looking at these steps, it really reminds me of building physical muscle at the gym.
Oh, I like that comparison.
Yeah, if you go to the gym on your first day and try to lift a massive weight, you will just get hurt and probably never go back. Instead, you lift the tiny weights every day.
Right, you build up slowly.
And the way a muscle actually grows is through micro tears. You have to literally break the muscle tissue a tiny bit so it heals stronger. Making a mistake in English or feeling a little embarrassed is like a micro tear for your ego.
That is brilliant.
If you don't tear your ego just a little bit by sounding foolish sometimes, your confidence muscle physically cannot grow.
I love that because it makes the discomfort feel normal. You shouldn't feel ashamed of muscle ache after a workout. You should see it as proof that you are growing. Which leads us to the fourth tip.
Stop comparing your workout to someone else's.
Exactly. Focus completely on your own journey. Looking at someone else lifting heavy weights won't make your muscles grow faster. It just distracts you.
And that brings us to the fifth and final tip. Celebrate the small wins.
Yes. If you order a coffee in English and the barista understands you, take a moment to actually feel proud.
Because that triggers the dopamine release we talked about earlier.
Exactly. There is real science behind celebrating. Dopamine tells your brain, hey, that felt good, let's try it again tomorrow. Celebrating is a neurological strategy to keep you motivated.
You are basically hacking your own reward system.
You really are. And to help with this, the sources give us some practical English sentences, mantras, really.
Things to say to yourself to replace that old negative programming.
Exactly. These are the tools to clear out that jungle path.
I'm going to read a few of these. And for everyone listening, notice how different these feel compared to your usual inner critic. Here they are. I believe in myself. I am improving every day. My mistakes help me learn.
Those are so powerful.
I do not compare my journey with others. My progress is my power. I can try again. I am becoming stronger. I respect my journey. I choose confidence today.
Just hearing you say them out loud, it shifts your perspective completely.
It really does feel calming.
And that calm feeling is your brain responding to new directions. By practicing these simple English sentences, especially when you feel afraid, you are interrupting the negative superhighway.
It's neuroplasticity, right?
Yes. The rule of neuroplasticity is that neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you feel fear, but you say, my mistakes help me learn, you are physically wiring a confident response into your brain.
So we really are building our own confidence step by step. If we put all this together, our definition of confidence is totally different now. True confidence does not mean you never feel fear. It means you try, even when you are afraid.
It changes the whole game. Confidence isn't about being a superhero who never makes a grammar error. It simply means you trust your ability to improve. It's a quiet belief that you can learn.
So to everyone listening to this right now, as you learn English or anything else new, be kind to yourself. Acknowledge those little mistakes as growth. Keep learning, keep trying, and remind yourself that your progress, no matter how small, is your power.
And as we finish up today, I want to leave you with one final thought. We talked about how we only see the successful results of others.
Right, the highlight reel.
Exactly. Well, imagine if we had a magical ability to see a highlight reel of every single mistake the most fluent, successful speakers ever made. Every time they used the wrong word, every time they felt embarrassed. If you could see that reality, how would it change the way you view your own daily struggles?
Wow. If we could see that the superheroes were just wobbly kids learning to walk too, maybe we'd finally give ourselves permission to just take the next wobbly step.
Absolutely.
Keep stepping, keep growing, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.